ग्रोथ आईएएस चैनल। आज हम अपना सब्जेक्ट हिस्ट्री शुरू करेंगे। सो द फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज व्हाट इज हिस्ट्री। हिस्ट्री क्या है? हिस्ट्री मीन्स द स्टडी ऑफ पास्ट on the basis of evidences is known as history. It can also be said that the quest about knowing the past is known as history. है ना? History is made up of a word historia. Historia is a Greek word which means inquiry, investigation, so it can be said that history is the inquiry or investigation about the past on the basis of evidences. Clear? Now, who is the father of history? Herodotus is called the father of history. So clear? First of thing, what is history? So history is the study of past on the basis of evidences, or to know the past is known as history. History is made up of a word historia, which is a Greek word which means inquiry, investigation. Who is the father of history? Then Herodotus is the father of history. Now the next question is, if we say that history is the study of past on the basis of evidences, then evidences can be divided into also many parts. What are the types of evidences? Or it can be also said that what are the sources of history? Clear? What are the sources of history? So we can say that history is mainly divided into three major sources. First source is archaeological sources. Archaeological sources. Second source is literary sources. And third is foreign historians and travelers. Foreign historians and travelers accounts. Clear? There are three major sources of history. First source is archaeological sources, second source is literary sources, and third one is foreign historians and travelers account. Archaeological sources also subdivided into many parts. That can be said inscription, numismatic evidences, third ruined cities and monuments, and fourth one is miscellaneous sources. इसी प्रकार से लिटरेरी सोर्सेज डिवाइडेड इनटू हिंदू सोर्सेस, बौद्ध सोर्सेस एंड जैन सोर्सेस. Literary sources subdivided firstly into socio-religious and second secular sources. chain are the part of social resources. In secular resources, we should study about resources that like drama, biographies, अर्थशास्त्र of hotel, clear? That like also philosophy, secular philosophy that we should study in detail later. And accounts of foreign historians and travelers means accounts like Fahen, Hansang. Accounts of foreign travelers can be divided into Muslim, Chinese, Arabs, and Tibet. Clear? The sources of history is subdivided into three parts: archaeological sources, literary sources, foreign historians and travelers' accounts. Archaeological sources are subdivided into inscription, numismatic evidences, ruined cities and monuments, as well miscellaneous sources. Literary sources subdivided into three subparts. First two subparts are social religious and secular, and third one is secular philosophy. Socio-religious is subdivided into Hindu sources, Buddha sources, and Jain sources. Secular sources divided into drama, biography, and arthashastra. And secular philosophy can be said as theory of dialectics. Foreign historians and travelers account is subdivided into Muslims travelers, Chinese travelers, Tibetan travelers, and Arab travelers. Clear? These are the major sources of history. Now, one by one, we should study about these sources. First of all, we should study about archaeological sources. Archaeological sources. Archaeological sources are the most authentic form of historical evidences. That is subdivided into firstly inscription. That is also called abhilekh. Inscriptions. What are inscriptions? Inscriptions are the writings that is done on stones or metals. है ना? For example, Ashokan edicts are the example of inscription. Now, inscription is subdivided into two parts. First, official inscription. And second, private inscription. What is official inscription and what is private inscriptions? Official inscriptions are those inscriptions which are erected by monarchs or officials. Clear? For example, done by monarch or officials. Example, Hathi Gumpa inscription. Clear? Ashokan edict is also an official inscription. What are language of official inscriptions? Language can be Pali, Prakriti, or Sanskrit. And what is the lipi? So lipi can be Brahmi or Kharosthi. Clear? These are called official inscriptions. One more thing about the official inscriptions is also kind of prashasti. What is prashasti? Prashasti are the praises about the monarch by their court poets. Means praises, can we say that their achievements, their winning of the war, these are noted in prasastis, and these are called prasastis, which are done by their court poet. What is the example of prasasti? Allahabad prasasti of Samudragupta. Clear? Now, we should study about private inscription. What are private inscriptions? If we see official inscription and private inscription, then private inscriptions found in more numerous form. They contain socio-religious information, and they are mainly erected in the walls of religious building. Clear? Inscriptions are the most authentic source of archaeological sources. There are two types of inscriptions. First is official inscription, second is private inscription. Official inscriptions are mainly done by monarch or their officials. Example can we say there, Hathi Umfa inscription. And what is the language? Pali, Prakriti or Sanskrit. Lipi can be used as Brahmi and Kharoshthi. Second one, in official inscription there is a prasasti. What are prasasti? Prasasti are the praises of the king by their court poets. Example is Allahabad prasasti of Samudragupta. Second one is private inscription. What are private inscriptions? Private inscriptions are more numerous forms of inscriptions. They contain information about socio and religious phenomena of that time, and they are mainly made in the walls of religious buildings. Clear? Now, second is numismatic evidences. Numismatic evidences. What are numismatic evidences? This is second most important source of ancient history. Means to know the history by coins, because every dynasty had published their coins, and coins contain most of the information about that time. Earlier, in an earlier history, there is two types of coin: Indo-Greek coins and second, punch-marked coins. Indo-Greek coins are coins made up of gold or many other metals, and earliest coins are punch-marked coins. What is punch-marked coins? Punch-marked coins are the earliest coins of ancient history, in which every symbol means punch-marked means symbol. These coins contain symbol. Every symbol punched in different way. In the coin, every symbol punched. That's why this is called punch-marked coins. Clear? Later, different dynasty published different coins. For example, Maurya, Gupta, Satavahan. Different coins contained many information about ancient history. Clear? Now, third most important source of Indian history in archaeological phenomena age, ruined cities and monuments. What are ruined cities and monuments? These are archaeological evidences that contain political, social, religious information about ancient history. Clear? Such as in Madhya Pradesh, Vidisha, Sanchi, in Bihar, Rajgriha, Nalanda are the example of ruined city and monuments and different examples. Clear? Now, fourth one is miscellaneous sources. Miscellaneous sources. In miscellaneous sources, all the examples that contain earliest evidences of earliest history, like monasteries, temples, pottery. Mainly these things contain evidences about social and religious culture about that time. Clear? These are the miscellaneous sources. Now, we should study about second source of Indian history. First, we have studied about archaeological sources. Now, we should study about literary sources. Sources. We earlier divided literary sources into various subparts, such as socio-religious, sources. First, second, what are second sources? Second source is secular sources. A third one is Sangam literature. And fourth is historians' literatures about various dynasties. Clear? Then socio-religious sources can be subdivided into Hindu sources, Buddhist sources, and Jain sources. Secular sources can be subdivided into first, Arthashastra, second, drama, third, biographies, clear? Historian literature can divide into two forms: individual literature, and second, local dynasty chronicles. Socio-religious sources are Hindu sources, Baudd sources, Jain sources. Secular sources divided into three forms: Arthashastra, drama, biographies. Then historian literatures, individual literature, and local dynasty sources. Clear? Now we should study about Hindu sources. First, Hindu sources. Hindu sources are subdivided into Shruta and Smriti. sources and Smriti sources. What are Shrut sources? Shrut sources are that sources that is heard by one generation to their next generations. Clear? For example, Shrut sources contains Veda, Brahman, Anakya, and Upanishad. Now we should divide Smriti sources like Puran, epics, Shad-darshan, ठीक है। उपनिषद के बाद इसमें वेदांगाज। क्लियर? What are Smriti sources? Smriti means remembrance. That is remembrance by their followers, and they written about Purans, epics, and Shad-darshan. Clear? Hindu sources are divided into two forms. First form is Sruti literature, and second form is Smriti literature. Sruti literature contain Ved, Brahman, Aranakaj, Upanishad, and Vedangaj. Smriti literature contain Smriti, Purans, epics, and Shad-darshan. Clear? Now we should study about Ved. So, friends, what is the meaning of Ved? Ved means to gain knowledge. Ved is made up of a word that is known as Vid. What is the meaning of Vid? Vid means knowledge. Means to gain knowledge of various things is known as Ved. Ved means simply a word known as Vid, and Vid means knowledge. Clear? Now, second thing, Ved is subdivided into four forms. Acha. Now, second thing is Ved is also called Aparshaya. Means they are not made by Purush. They are not made by man. It is a God created thing. Clear? Ved is subdivided into four forms. What are the four forms of Ved? Ved is subdivided into four forms. First, Rig Ved. Second, Yajur Ved. Third, Sam Ved. And fourth, Athar Ved. Clear? Rig Ved, Yajur Ved, Sam Ved, and Athar Ved. What is Rig Ved? Rig Ved are the praises or philosophical things about the God. Rig Ved contain praises about God and rituals. Clear? Rig Ved is divided into 1028 hymns. Clear? Rig Ved contain praises about the God, and they are mainly divided into Brahmans. So there are 28 hymns in Rig Ved. Second thing is Yajur Ved. Yajur Ved contains sacrifices and rituals. They are both in huge form. Clear? Third one is, what is Yajurved contain? They contain sacrifice and rituals. Third is Samved. Samved is known as the originator of Indian music. Clear? What are Atharved? Atharved mainly contain the knowledge about witchcraft and many things. Now, Ved is subdivided into Rigved, Yajurved, Samved, Atharved, and what are the Ved collect? Ved comprises a huge collections of hymns, prayers, dramas, and sacrificial formula. There are 4 types of Ved: Rigved, Yajurved, Samved, and Atharved. Now, we should study second Sut literature, what is called Brahman. What is Brahman? Brahmans are the philosophical text that simplify Vedas. They explain the hymns of Vedas. Means Brahman explain the hymns of Vedas. They are written both prose and ritualistic form. Clear? Brahmans means, what is the meaning of Brahman? Brahmans mean sacrifice. Every Ved have different Brahman. Clear? For example, Rig Ved have Brahman. Second, Yajurved have different Brahman. Third, Samved has different Brahman, and Atharved has different Brahman. Rigved contains Brahman like Aitreya and Kaushtaki. Second, Yajurved contains Brahman Taittiriya and Satpat. Samved has Brahman such as Tandya and Jaiminya. And Atharved has Brahman. Atharved has only one Brahman, that is Gopat Brahman. Clear? What are Brahman and what are the different types of Brahman according to their Vedas. Hence, Brahmans are the explain the hymns of the Vedas. They contain mainly sacrifices. Different Ved have different Brahmans. For example, Rig Ved has 2 Brahman that are Aitreya and Kaushtaki. Yajurved has 2 Brahmans that are Taittiriya and Satpat. Samved has 2 Brahman that are Tandya and Jaiminya. Atharved has 2 Brahman. Atharved has only 1 Brahman, that is Gopat Brahman. Clear? Hence, you should have to read once what are Brahmans and what are their different types. Now, third thing is Aryanakaj. Aryanakaj. What are Aryanakaj and what is the meaning of Aryanakaj? Aryanakaj is made up of the word Aranya, which means jungle. Hence, the texts that are compiled in jungles are known as Aryanakaj. Who has compiled these sources? The hermits and Shishya of Guruji and Shishya or follower of Guru comprises Aryanakaj. What does Aryanakaj contain? So, Aryanakaj contains the philosophical interpretation of the rituals. Clear? Anakash contain philosophical interpretation of rituals. Clear? Now, fourth thing is, first once read this. What Anakaj? Anakaj is made up of a word known as jungle, aranya. Who has compiled this? Hermits and their followers of the gurus or rishi. What does it contain? Philosophical interpretation of rituals. It can also say that Anakaj are concluding portion of Brahmans. Concluding portion of Brahmans. Clear? Then clear what is Anakaj? Now, fourth is Upanishad. Fourth is Shrut literature is Upanishad. Upanishad means those texts which are compiled by sitting near their guru. Clear? These texts are the philosophical interpretation which also simplify Vedas, and they are also called Vedanta. Last interpretation of Vedas. Clear? How many Upanishad? Mainly, what does Upanishad contain? Upanishad contain the philosophy about soul, action, Brahma, and Brahman. Soul means Atma, action means Karma, Brahma means God, and Brahman means spirituality or ultimate truth. Clear? Upanishad are compiled by the followers that are compiled after sitting near the Guru. They are also called Vedas. What does contain? This contains the philosophy about soul means Atma, action means Karma, Brahma means God, and Brahman means spirituality or ultimate truth. Clear? Now, how many number of Upanishad? There are 108 Upanishad. In 108 Upanishad, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad is the oldest Upanishad. Clear? Clear about Upanishad? What Upanishad? They are Vedantas. Philosophy contain about soul, action, Brahma, and Brahman. They are total 108 Upanishad, and Brihadaranyaka Upanishad is the oldest Upanishad. Clear? Now, we should study about Vedanta. Fifth, Vedangas. What are Vedangas? They are the limbs of Vedas. Limbs of Vedas that are compiled in 600 to 200 BC. Clear? What does it contain? What are Vedas? Your Vedangas contain? They contain proper renunciation or understanding. They contain proper recitation or understanding understanding about Vedas. ठीक है? Vedangas are called limbs of Vedas. They are compiled in 600 to 200 BC. They contain proper recitation and understanding about Vedas. There are 6 types of Vedangas. What are types of Vedangas? These are 6 types. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Every Vedangas contain about the recitation and understanding about different Vedas. For example, first is Shiksha. What contains Shiksha? Shiksha means phonetics. Second is Kalpasutra. Kalpasutra is also divided into 3 forms: Shraddha Sutra, Dharma Sutra, and Griha Sutra. Third is means first can we say that? Second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. First Vedangas is Nirukta. Second, etymology. Third, Shiksha. Fourth, grammar. And fifth, acha, this Shiksha means phonetics and grammar means what? A grammar means? Grammar means the dictionary. Nirukta means etymology, and fifth is Chand, and sixth is Jyotish. Clear? There are 6 types of Vedangas. First, Nirukta, which is also called etymology. Second, Kalpasutra. Third, Shiksha. Fourth, grammar. Sixth, Chand. Fifth, Chand, and sixth, Jyotish. What does Nirukta means? Nirukta means etymology. It is a collection of different Vedic words. What does Kalpasutra contain? Kalpasutra contains sacrifice. There are 3 types of Kalpasutra. What are different types of Kalpasutra? First, Shraddha Sutra. Sutra also called Sulva Sutra. Second, Dharma Sutra. And third, Griha Sutra. Clear? Shraddha Sutra, also called Sulva Sutra, Dharma Sutra, and Griha Sutra. What does Shraddha Sutra contain? This contains rituals or sacrifice. What does Dharma Sutra contain? This contains about law. And what does Griha Sutra contain? This contains about domestic ceremonies that are performed by the householders. By householder. Clear? Now, third is Shiksha. Shiksha means phonetics. Fourth, grammar. Grammar means Vyakaran. And first book of grammar is Ashtadhyayi, written by Pandey. Fourth is Chand, Chand of Pingal. And sixth is Jyotish. Jyotish means astronomy. First book written by Lagat Muni. Clear? These are called Vedangas. What are Vedangas? Vedangas are the limbs of Vedas that are compiled in 600 to 200 BC. They are the proper recitation about understanding about Vedas. There are 6 kind of Vedangas. Nirukta, also called etymology. Kalpasutra. Third, Shiksha. Fourth, grammar. Fifth, Chand, and sixth, Jyotish. Clear? valid ones. Now, we should study about Smriti. What are Smriti? Smriti means remembrance. It contains traditional knowledge. Traditional knowledge about various social and religious culture of that time, of social and religious culture. Religious culture. Example can we say that Manusmriti, Narad Smriti, Yajnavalak Smriti, Parashar Smriti, and many more, etc. There are 6 kind of types of Smritis. Clear? Smriti means remembrance. What does it contain? It contains traditional knowledge of social and religious culture of that time. How many types of Smritis? There are 6 types of Smritis. What is name? Manu Smriti, Narad Smriti, Yajnavalak Smriti, Parashar Smriti, and 5th is Brihaspati Smriti and Katyayan Smriti. Smriti and Katyayan Smriti. Clear? What is Smriti? Smriti is the remembrance about the traditional knowledge of socio-religious culture of that time. How many types of Smriti? There are 6 types of Smriti. Example of Smriti: first, Manu Smriti; second, Narad Smriti; third, Yajnavalak Smriti; fourth, Parashar Smriti; fifth, Brihaspati Smriti; and sixth, Katyayan Smriti. Clear? Now, in Smriti literature, different things such as Upved. Smriti literature contains Upved, Puran, Epic, and Shardarshan. Now, the question arises: what are the Upved? What are Upved? Upved means auxiliary Vedas. Upved contains auxiliary Vedas such as Rig Veda has Upved Ayurved, which contain knowledge about medicine. Yajurved contain knowledge about rituals, but it has a Upved known as Dhanurved, contains knowledge about archery. Third is Samved, which has Upved as Gandharved, and fourth is Atharved, means Upved Arthved. What is the meaning of earth? It means wealth. Clear? So now we should study about Upved. What does Upved means? Upved are the auxiliary knowledge or auxiliary Ved. They are auxiliary or Sahayak to the Vedas. It contains knowledge about various things such as first Rig Ved has an auxiliary Ved known as Ayurved. Second, Yajurved have a Rig Ved known as Yajurved has an auxiliary Ved known as Dhanurved. Third, Samved auxiliary Ved called Upved, known as Gandharva Ved. And fourth, Atharva Ved has a Rig Ved known as Earth Ved. So the question arises here, what is Ayurveda and what does Ayurveda contain? Ayurveda contains the medicines or traditional treatment of the various disease. All the things are contained in Ayurveda, means medication or treatment. Treatment. It has a name known as Ayur. Ayurveda means the knowledge of the age-old knowledge. Age-old knowledge is Ayurveda. Clear about the medication or treatment. What does Dhanurved contain? Dhanurved contains the knowledge about archery or arms emanations. Clear? Third, Samved. Gandharved contains knowledge about music and that things. Fourth, Atharved. Atharved is a Upved called Arthved. Means Arth means wealth. Wealth. Clear? What are Upved? Upved are the auxiliary Vedas. There are 4 kinds of Ved about every Ved. Rig Ved has a Ved. Ayurved means age-old knowledge about medication and treatment. Second, Yajurved means Dhanurved, knowledge about the archery and arms. Third is Samved. It has Upved, Gandharved, knowledge about the music. And fourth is Atharved, have a Upved, Arthved, that is earth or wealth. Clear? These are called Upved. Now, read once. What is Upved? What is the meaning of Upved? And what is the different kinds of Upved? Clear? Now, we should study about epics. What are epics? Epics in Hindi means Mahakavya. Epics are the knowledge or written projects about the legendary figure. There are 2 types of epics. First, Ramayana and Mahabharata. Hence, 2 epics contain legendary figures such as Ramayana contain about knowledge about Ram and Mahabharata about Krishna. Now, Ramayana compiled by Valmiki in 500 BC to 300 AD, and Mahabharata compiled by Ved Vyas in 400 BC to 400 AD. Clear? There are 2 types of epics, Ramayana, Mahabharata. Ramayana compiled by Valmiki in 500 BC to 300 BC. Mahabharata by Ved Vyas in 400 BC to 400 AD. They are also literary source of or evidence about the ancient history. Clear? And Mahabharata contain about a legendary figure known as Krishna, and Ramayana contain about legendary figure known as Ram. Now, next is Puran. Puran differs such as Purana, old, है ना? So Puran What does Puran signify? And it signifies about the of genealogies of God, genealogy about of kings, various phenomena about local dynasties such as Maurya, Gupta, and different. Okay, Purans contain genealogy about God, genealogy about kings, and various phenomena about dynasties such as Maurya, Gupta, Satavahan, and many more. How many kinds of Puran? There are 18 kinds of Puran. Examples of Puran: Matsya Puran, Garud Puran, and many more. Clear? Then first question is, what is Puran? Then Puran is the oldest Smriti literature, and they contain about the genealogy of God, genealogy of king, and various things about dynasties such as Maurya, Gupta, Satvahans, and there are 18 kinds of Purans. Example: Matsya Puran, Garud Puran, and many more. Now, the fifth one is Shad Darshan. What are Shad Darshan? Shad Darshan are 6 schools of Indian philosophy. 6 schools of Indian philosophy is Shad Darshan. What are these 6 schools? Then first is Nyay, second Vaishashik, third Yoga, fourth Purva Mimamsa, and fifth one is Uttar Mimamsa. Fifth is Uttar Mimamsa, and six is Nyay, Vaishashik, Yoga, Purva Mimamsa, Uttar Mimamsa, and Sankhya Darshan. Clear? Shad Darshan, they are the 6 schools of Indian philosophy. What are 6 schools? Nyay, Vaishashik, Yoga, Purva Mimamsa, and Uttar Mimamsa, as well as Sankhya. Then Nyay Darshan is written by Gautam, Vaishashik Darshan written by Muni Kanad, Yoga Darshan written by Patanjali, Purva Darshan written by Jaimanya, and Purva Mimamsa written by Jaimanya, Uttar Mimamsa written by Badrayan, and Sankhya Darshan written by Kapil Muni. Nyay Darshan written by Gautam Muni, Vaishashik Darshan written by Kanad Muni, Yoga Darshan written by Patanjali, Purva Mimamsa written by Jaimanya, Uttar Mimamsa written by Badrayan, and Sankhya Darshan written by Kapil Muni. Clear? What are Shad Darshan, and what are the kinds of Shad Darshan, and who is the composer of or writer of Shad Darshan? Now, here the completion of Hindu sources. studied about Shruta and Smriti sources. Now, second literary sources is Buddha sources. Buddha sources. Before knowing about Buddha sources, which kind of philosophy does Buddha preach? It is a atheist philosophy. Means it does not accept Vedas. Clear? Buddhist is a atheist philosophy. Now, who is the preacher of Buddha? Mahavir Swami. Now, what are the sources of Buddha? The most important source of Buddha is their Tripitak. Tripitak. Pitak means knowledge. What are the types of Tripitak? First is Sutta Pitak. Second, Vinay Pitak. And third, Abhidhamma Pitak. Clear? What does Sutta Pitak contain? Sutta Pitak contain statement of the Buddha. So Sutta Pitak contain statements of the Buddha. Vinaya Pitak contain rituals. And Abhidhamma Pitak contain philosophy of Buddha. Clear? These are the most authentic sources of Buddha sources. Second source is Deepavans, Mahavams, these are the Buddhist sources about the Sri Lankan origin, or these are Sri Lankan origin Buddhist sources about ancient history, that is Deepavans and Mahavans. There are many more such as Buddha Charita and Divvadan, Jataks. What are Jataks? Jataks are the stories about previous birth of Buddha. Lalit Vistar, clear? Buddha Charita. These are Buddhist sources. Three Pitak, there are three kinds: Sutta, Vinayak and Abhidhamma. Deepavans and Mahavans, these are sources about the Sri Lankan, Sri Lanka. Third, Jatak. Jatak are the stories of previous birth of Buddha. Lalit Vistar and Buddha Charit. These are the Buddha sources. Clear? Read once. Now, third is Jain sources. Jain is also atheist philosophy that they should not accept the Vedas. Clear? What are Jain sources? Jain sources like Anga, Upanga. Clear? Anga, Upanga, Kalp Sutra, Bhagavati Sutra. Bhagavati Sutra and etc. Because of Jain literature is atheist philosophy and their time period is 600 BC approximately, means 500 to 400, and they are also preached by various monarchs such as Bimbisar, Ajasatru and Chandragupta. The literatures that contains Jain sources are Ang, Upang, Kalp Sutra, Bhagavati Sutra, and etc. and many more. These Jain sources have various knowledge about the ancient history, and they prove as a evidence about the religious phenomena about ancient history. Because of the books that are preached by the Jains contain various knowledge about the social and religious aspect of ancient history, philosophy about ancient history, what are traditions and culture that are preached in the ancient history. All the things are contained in these kind of literatures that are preached by various quotations or poets about of Jain and of various monarch like Bimbisar, Ajasattu, Chandragupta Maurya. Clear? Chandragupta Maurya itself goes to Sharan Belgola. Clear? Now, here socio and religious sources completed. We have studied about Hindu sources, Buddhist sources, and Jain sources. Clear? All the three sources are completed here. Now, second thing is secular sources. What are secular sources? What is secular? Secular means dharma-nirpeksh. The sources that is not depend or that should not preach a various particular dharma or religion, but they enhance the political, social, religious, and cultural aspect of ancient history. We can say that what are examples of secular literatures? First, more authentic example is Arthashastra. Arthashastra. Who has written Arthashastra? Chanakya. Okay? Now, second is dramas. Where is drama? Third, biographies. Now, we should study one by one. First is Arthashastra. Arthashastra. Who has written Arthashastra? Arthashastra written by Chanakya. Chanakya is also known as Kautilya. Kautilya is the Prime Minister of Chandragupta Maurya. Clear? So, Arthashastra, what does Arthashastra contain? Arthashastra contain about the political and economical aspect of ancient history, or political and administrative as well economical aspect of administration of Maurya. Clear? We should earlier known that history is the study of past about the evidences. These evidences can be got by Arthashastra about the Maurya Empire by political, administrative, economics aspect of administration of Maurya. Clear? Second thing is drama. What are the example of dramas? First example is Mudra Rakshas. Second is Devi Chandraguptam. Who has written this? This both is written by Vishakha Datta. Mudra Rakshas contain knowledge about the administration and politics of Maurya and Nand. Maurya plus Nand. Clear? What does Mudrakshas contain? Knowledge about the Maurya and Nanda Vansh. Later Devi Chandraguptam, written by Visakha Datta, contain knowledge about the Gupta. Now third is God Vahu. Is also drama written by Vakpati. About whom? About exploits of Yashovarman of Kannauj. Yashovarman of Kannauj. Clear? There are three kinds of dramas. First is Mudrakshas, written by Visakha Dutt, about whom? About Maur and Nand. Second, Devi Chandraguptam, written by Visakha Dutt, about whom? About Guptavans. And third is God Vahu, written by Vakpati, about whom? About the exploits of Yashovarman of Kannauj. What the meaning of exploit? Karname. Yashovarman के कारनामे. Yashovarman of king of Kannauj. Clear? These are the dramas. Dramas says about the social and cultural aspect as well as administrative prospect of that monarchs and that dynasties, such as Nandavans, Mauravans, Guptavans, and many more, such as Yashovarman. Clear? These are secular literatures. Now we should study about biographies. Biographies such as Buddha Charita. Biographies about Buddha Charita means Buddha Charita is a biography of Buddha. Harsh Charita, biography of Harshavardhan. Clear? And Prithviraj Raso, written by Chandvardai. Clear? Now we should study about important historical sources which is secular in nature, that is biography. Biography means Jeevani. There are two kinds of biography, means a biography and autobiography. Autobiography means written by itself, the person who has written their autobiography about themselves. And second is biography, which is written by another person about a person, that is known as biography. Example, Buddha Charita. Buddha Charita. Second is Harsh Charita. Third is Prithviraj Raso. Clear? These are the biographies. Buddha Charita, Harsh Charita, Prithviraj Raso. Because these biographies say various things about the administrative, political, as well as cultural and social aspect of the administration and politics about that time or ancient history about various dynasties. Now, we should study about secular philosophies. There are two kinds of secular philosophy. Secular, अभी हमने secular literature पढ़ा. Now secular philosophy. Secular philosophy. First philosophy is theory of dialectics. Dialectics. Who gives this theory? This theory gives by Mahatma Buddha. Mahatma Buddha. What does this theory explain? This theory explains that the perspective thoughts of various persons will generate a new thought when it will concluded with a truth or a real thought. It will generate ultimate reality. Means the thought of one person will coincide with the thought of second person. It will generate some third thought, and this third thought will conclude with a real thought. It will generate a truth or ultimate truth. Ultimate truth. It is also called द्वंद्वात्मकता का सिद्धांत. Okay, given by Mahatma Buddha. Now, second theory is philosophy of relativity. Means सापेक्षता का दर्शन. This means that everything is relative to oneself. हर एक चीज एक दूसरे से परस्पर जुड़ी हुई होती हैं. This is philosophy of relativity, also called माध्यमिका. Okay, this is the theory of or philosophy of relativity given by philosophy means दर्शन. हर चीज परस्पर एक दूसरे से जुड़ी होती हैं. दिस इज फिलॉसफी ऑफ रिलेटिविटी गिवन बाय नागार्जुन. क्लियर? फिलॉसफी ऑफ रिलेटिविटी माध्यमिका और गिवन बाय नागार्जुन. नाउ थर्ड थिंग इज संगम लिटरेचर. संगम literature. These are the earliest sources of history about the South or Tamil land. Which are the what is the meaning of Sangam? Sangam means the poetic compilation by various court poets about the history or various things aspect of the South. Poet compilation by group of poets of different times patronized by many chiefs and kings are called Sangam. Example: Pattu Pattu, second Ittu Goi, and many more. These Sangam literatures are sources of Indian ancient history about South. South means Tamil land. Clear? These are Sangam literature. Now, next is historical writings. Historical writings are divided into two forms: individual writings, and second is local dynastic chronicles. Third is historical writing. First is individual writing. Individual writing, and second local dynasty chronicles. What are individual writings? Example of individual writing is Raj Tarangani of Kalhan. Raj Tarangani is written by Kalhan. It is a knowledge about ancient history of Kashmir. Time period of Raj Tarangani is 1149 to 50 AD. It is the most authentic source of history, which is Raj Tarangani, written by Kalhan. Second is local dynasty chronicles. Means it is the chronicles about the dynasties of North India, like Gujarat, Nepal, and Assam, and many more. Gujarat have a local chronicles such as Rasmala and Kirti Komodi. Rasmala and Kirti Komodi. Nepal, Vamsavali, main city genealogy of kings of the Nepal. And third is Assam. Assam has a chronicle of Kamrup Sasnavali. Kamrup Sasna Kamrup Sasnavali. Clear? Okay. Historical writings are those writings that are written by historians, which are divided into two forms. First is individual writing, and second is local dynasty chronicles. Individual writings, example Raj Tarangani, which is the history about the Kashmir that is written by Kalhan, and the time period of the Raj Tarangani is 1149 to 50 AD. Second is local dynasty chronicles, such as chronicles about the part of North India, example Gujarat, Nepal, Assam. Gujarat chronicles written such as Rasmala and Kirti Komodi. In Nepal, example Vamsavali, Assam, Kamrup, Sasna Vali. These are the historical writings. Here the literary sources are completed. Now third is accounts of foreign historians and travelers. Different kind of foreign historians and travelers arrived in India, such as Arab, Tibet, Muslims. Everyone gives accounts about the dynasty, administration, politics, socio and culture aspect of that time, how the administration done in that dynasty. Everything should be written in the chronicles about the accounts of foreign historians. Now last is accounts of foreign historians and travelers. Which are these foreign historians? We can see the example such as Megasthenes, written Indica, Pliny, written natural history, Ptolemy, written geography, other like Fahen, Hansung, and Tibet writer like Taranath, Arab writer like Al-Masudi. It can be said that every foreign historical travelers written about the things, the culture, the administration, the politics about the Indian or Buddhist sources like Taranath, Muslim sources like Al-Masudi. These first writings such as Megasthenes of Indica have contained knowledge about Mauryan Empire. Pliny natural history contains information about the Mauryan administration as well as socio-economic of Indian Empire. Ptolemy's geography contains treatise on the natural vegetation of Indian written in 2nd century AD, and different Fahen means Fahen written Fukoki, which means Buddhist records of Buddhist countries. Hansang Siuki means Buddhist record of Western world. Clear? These are the account of foreign historians and travelers. Then other authors and travelers, this is the last topic, other authors and travelers, such as Alexander Hamilton, as well as Frederick Max Muller, James Friendship. James Friendship is the first person who had deciphered the Ashokan edicts in 1837. And William Jones, that is the surveyor of archaeological survey. Other authors are like first person who deciphered Ashokan edict in 1837. Alexander Hamilton. The person who firstly taught Sanskrit in Europe. Europe, and many more. Now here in this class we have studied about the what is history. The history is the study of past about by various evidences, and with the father of history, Herodotus. History divided into many parts such as three kinds. What are three kinds? Archaeological, literary, and third, foreign accounts and historians. In archaeology, we have studied about the inscriptions, monuments, coins, or numismatics evidences, and various miscellaneous sources. In literary sources, we have studied about the Hindu, Jain, Buddhist, as well as secular philosophy, and historical writings like individual as well as foreign individual as well as local dynasty chronicles. And lastly, about foreign accounts and travelers, we have studied about the various Arab, Muslims, and Buddhist sources such as Taranat or Tibet. And lastly, we have studied about the other travelers like such as Hamilton and James Francis, which contribute a lot about the source of history of India. And here the topic of history as well as source of history is completed. Now our next topic will start it again in the next lecture, that is prehistoric Indian age. Now thank you.